welcome to Sim UK. Today I'm going to review Airport Master. This game is covered in a shroud of controversy. I was completely unaware of this prior to making this review. There's a YouTuber called Jim Sterling, and his review, which has now been taken down but is still available actually. The development team who own Airport Master, STICLI, apparently brought some legal suit against Jim to have that video pulled down. That approach hasn't really worked, as I say, as the game footage has been shared many times over and is still available. I have watched that review, not that it really is a review. That video's primary focus is for comedic entertainment, intertwined with a knee-jerk reaction and a first impression of the game. Now, I must say that I do have written permission to make this review, and I am not jumping on the Jim Sterling bandwagon. This is going to be a real review, although I will need to address Jim Sterling at some stage. I was asked to agree to certain things before I was entitled to make this review, but in no way have I been censored or blocked from voicing my opinion of the game as it currently is, or of its potential in the future. Now, my goal here is to create an honest, fact-based review of this title, and that is exactly what I'm going to do. I do not want to focus my attention on the Jim Sterling situation, and although I am also a YouTuber, this is certainly not going to be a brother-in-arms attack against STICLI or Airport Master. I've seen that, and you've probably seen that many times over already. Nor do I have any intention to criticise Jim Sterling or his review. I know nothing of the lawsuit, and as such, I won't comment on that. But what I will say is that I saw nothing in that review that could or should warrant any form of legal action, in my humble opinion. With that being said, I will now progress with my review of Airport Master and apply my own personal critique in an attempt to inform you, the buyer, and also hopefully provide some useful user feedback for STICLI to consider. First up, some details about this title. It's available on Steam and has been since the 17th of February 2017. It's currently £11.99 or about $15, and it's in very early access. I believe actually the price has dropped since it was first released. Reviews on Steam so far amass to a whopping 34. 4 of those reviews are positive and focus on the potential of the title, which is what drew me towards it in the first place. The rest are negative. Most of them have less than 30 minutes of gameplay, and they all tend to focus on Jim Sterling's lawsuit, the EULA, which I will discuss later on, the graphics, and the lack of content. Now, they say even bad news is good news. But Airport Master has had a very, very rocky and turbulent start to its release, and they have potentially alienated a vast number of potential customers. STICLI have taken something of a risk allowing me to review this title, and I am grateful to them for the opportunity. That being said, I will discuss everything that I think needs to be discussed, and I will not sugarcoat it either. I want to provide useful feedback for the developers and also ensure that you, the potential buyers, understand the complete picture too. Now, unlike most EA developments, this one actually comes with a roadmap and an end goal explained in full. This is something that Jim Sterling did not cover, so please allow me to elaborate on that by highlighting what I believe to be the key points. You yourself can go to Airport Master's website and read all of this information yourself. Airport Master is an aviation game with great attention to airport management. So your role in this title is to be the airport manager, not the ground crew, pilot or ATC. It promotes realistic flight dynamics of aircraft and real-world based data on performance, cost and revenues exerted by modern aircraft. The game features a realistic world around players' airports with weather, time schedules, contract system and of course the ability to develop and upgrade your airport. As of now, the player is capable of managing a regional airport with a 1300-metre runway used by private planes and regional jets only. As the ultimate goal, each player should be able to use his earnings as an airport manager to develop the airport to modern city airport levels, with the capability to service larger passenger and cargo aircraft that require bigger runways and more sophisticated infrastructure. The game is aimed to both entertain and educate players of the exciting world of aviation. Unlike predecessors in this genre, Airport Master offers real-world challenges and teaches how real-world airport managers respond to elastic conditions imposed by weather, economy, and technology that all make up humanity's achievement of being able to fly. So what can we read into that statement then? Well, there is a heavy focus on realism, education, and aviation. I have said it before, this is a title built by aviation enthusiasts for aviation enthusiasts, and I still believe that to be true. They do seem to be a little condemning of other titles' lack of realism, but there is no mention exactly of to whom they are referring. Now that's an interesting point, because if what I've heard is true, then the reason they applied legal action against Jim Sterling is because his review was critical. However, if you read their documentation in full, you can say, and I quote, "We are open to your ideas and suggestions. Use Steam, Facebook or Twitter to contact us if you have what to say." Ignoring the obvious typo there, it suggests to me that they can criticise and understand critique, and also that they want to hear our suggestions. So how this entire legal standoff came about is somewhat confusing. So I guess the EULA is where the problem resides then. I do not want to focus on this, but it cannot go unmentioned. So let's address that head on and see what all the hoo-ha is about. The key points of the EULA are as follows. The end user recognises that all of the rights associated with the software, as well as the rights related to the trademarks, royalties and copyrights, are the property of STICLI games and are protected by international laws and treaties. Any use of copyright holders' trademarks, imagery content, videos, graphical elements, names, plot in any activity, including but not limited to producing third-party video content, electronic and on-paper publishing, creation of promotional content, etc., is only possible with prior written permission of copyright holder. Honestly, I am shocked and a little taken aback by such a statement. Who in their right mind would propose such a ridiculous legal stance? Legally, I don't believe this is even really enforceable. That being said, Jim Sterling was allegedly forced to remove his review, so maybe I am wrong to say that. Here's a little tip for STICLI. If I want to find out about a game, I go to YouTube. If there are no reviews on YouTube, I don't buy the game. If the reviews on YouTube are negative, it certainly gives me something to think about, but it does not make my decision for me. Negative reviews are almost as positive as positive ones. Of that, I am positive. Some more so than others, I grant you. With a legal stance like this though, STICLI are cutting off their noses to spite their face. It's wrong, it's stupid, and it's futile. I strongly recommend that they change it immediately and publicly if you want your title to have any chance of success. With the way things are at the moment, an apology from you would also go a long way to mending ties with your audience. The other massively talked about item within the EULA is no refunds. Except when required by law, the licensor shall be under no obligation to issue refunds under any circumstances. The licensor may issue refunds based on licensor's own judgment and solely as a gesture of goodwill. This is something of a red herring. It's actually kind of standard practice, to be totally honest with you. Other titles have the same stance. DCS World, for example, at the point of purchase, refused to issue any kind of refund, whether required by law or not. It's not totally enforceable. If you buy this game via Steam and request a refund within an hour of playtime, you will receive your refund. In fact, I've seen some people who have bought this title just to get the refund. That's kind of a brother-in-arms stand-up for the little guy, which honestly I don't agree with at all. Now this final part is where everything falls apart. That means that you must obtain prior written permission from us before uploading any videos to YouTube. Otherwise, you are breaching the EULA and we can terminate your software license without refund and fire a copyright strike on YouTube. In a word, disgraceful. My intention was, and still is, to provide an honest and fact-based review of this title, but this paragraph has angered me greatly. An utterly preposterous standpoint. STICLI, please do remove this obscenity ASAP. Ordinary people just do not read the EULA, so you are seemingly lording it over your customers without incrimination. I am appalled, genuinely appalled. I highly recommend you fire your legal expert before he/she single-handedly ruins your entire company. I'm not here to talk about legal standoffs or EULAs. I want to review and discuss this title. So let's ignore all of that legal bollocks and press on. Okay guys, so I'm going to do some gameplay and sort of talk to you about what is and what isn't available, what's coming, what I think about it, etc, etc, etc. Now, from all the reviews I've seen so far, hardly anybody has really got into the game. They haven't given it more than sort of 10, 20, 30 minutes at most, with the exception of a few, before you start shouting at me. Predominantly, though, it's very, very much the first 20 minutes is the entire game, which it is not. They haven't gone into any of the details, any of the information. There's been no clarity of anything at all. It's been very much knee-jerk reaction, which is not fair, I don't think. Now, this is the opening screen, the menu screen. There's a couple of things I want to mention here. When the game loads, okay, let's start with settings. There are no settings, coming soon. Now, in-game, there are a few settings, but here in the main menu area, there are no settings options. What you can do is, from the launcher menu, you can change your game resolution, or you can set it windowed. Now, unfortunately, if it's windowed, you can't run at 1920 1080. It just won't let you. That option disappears. That's a bit frustrating, and that's kind of how this game is. But you have to remember, it's alpha. It's very, very, very early alpha. That's where we are. We're in early alpha. We're not even in mid-alpha at the moment. What's coming in mid-alpha, incidentally, is quite interesting. So if you just listen to this audio as well, listen to this audio a second. That's not great. It's dated. It's very dated, but it looks dated. It sounds dated, but okay, it's functional. I'd like to see it changed, because that's not really of a high quality. And I think this game is all about high quality. Just listen to the whole review before you start shouting at me and whatnot. Let's start a new game. So here we are, guys. This is the airport. This is what you really see when you first load the game. This screen here, and you've got this constantly beeping in the background, and that's very distracting, and you're trying to absorb all this information. You've never seen it before. It looks like you've got like 70 options up here, another 10 down here. This is obviously your process board, where you know which flights are coming in, which flights are going out, etc. I'm not sure if that's currently functional or not, but anyway. Now, I don't think I've seen anybody do this. Everybody gets so fed up with looking at this and listening to this beeping alert going off that they close this, open this, and then start dealing with stuff. So let's do that. Let's start with dealing with this. This is, please review and set fuel prices for Jet 1A 100LL. Boom. Now, unfortunately, you have to move something. Now, there's an awful lot of information here, and it would be impossible for you to absorb that and deal with it in the amount of time it's giving you. Let's look at this one. Please review and set aeronautical fees. Okay, once again, you know, hang on, I'm in the wrong place. Oh yes, we are in the right place, sorry, yeah, there. Now you have to change it, which is a bit frustrating, because predominantly when you start a game for the first time, you just kind of leave everything where it is. I mean, why would you start messing around with stuff you don't understand? So it's a bit frustrating that you get put into that situation. This is the next thing that confuses the living daylights out of people. Flight school daily flights roster planning. And this is it. This is what you'll experience if you first load the game. This is what you're going to see. Now, everybody clicks skip, because genuinely, what else can you do? You don't know what flight school daily flight roster planning is. You don't know anything, so you click skip. And then something's happened. And then more stuff pops up. Flight school, daily roster flight planning. Do you see what I mean? And I've just clicked on that and it didn't open at all. So we come down here and this is the flight school area. I'm going at 1,000,000 miles an hour because that's how the game starts. And that's a bad way to start, especially a game with such high level of data and information that you need to understand and absorb. So what people should do, and what the game should do, is it should start paused. Local flight, FSC 499. See, now I've been playing for a little while, and even I have no idea what to do with that. So I'm just going to skip. And another thing comes in. An aircraft requires fueling. Now this is the problem with the game. It doesn't give you any opportunity to absorb it. It's just bang, 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 bang. And before you know it, you've been playing 20 minutes, you've clicked 7 buttons, you don't know what's going on, you're completely confused, everything's completely overwhelming, and that's it. You're out. Do you know what I mean? That's what you start getting negative thoughts about it. Like, for instance, this. You click on this, and now it's going to start refueling that. Now, what you wouldn't have seen before, in fact, I don't think the refueling trucks are currently active. Let's just go and have a look-see here. Oh, there it is. There's the fueling truck. Now, that ought to come over to here and refuel this truck, but I don't think it's going to. Hang on one second. Sorry about that. I had a phone call. Right. So let me try, because there is no pause button. You cannot pause. It's in constant flow. And if you stop the game and leave the game, you can come back to the exact moment that you left it. Now, things are going ping, pong, ping in the background, and you've got no idea what any of this is. Now, you can turn it off. I did say earlier, where is it here? If you come into the settings, you do have some. Let's turn all that crap off and go resume. Now it's completely silent. Now you won't hear a flipping thing, except for vehicles. I guess this is the next thing I have to address. It's not all positive stuff, but this is early access, right? The sounds in this game are pretty terrible. And it's a shame to say that because, you know, in terms of aviation, audio is one of the... It's quite an important thing. But it's early access. It is early access, so I wouldn't worry too much about that right now. Now, what people should be doing is starting the game paused, so nothing's going on in the background, and they have a chance to read this and absorb this information. It's actually pretty straightforward. It's WASD to sort of move around. It's right click on the mouse and move. We'll talk about that in a second. Oh, something's firing up. Now you can hear there that we're listening to a single prop engine. There it is. I see it. We're listening to this single prop engine, but the startup for that prop engine sounded like a jet. And that's kind of where they are at the moment. They've got some sound files and they've mashed them all together so that all airplanes kind of start up the same. That's because it's early access and they think it's better to have something than nothing. And that's kind of where they are with that. So you're going to hear that. So you're going to have to, I mean, you have to expect this kind of stuff. This is so early access. It's very, very, very alpha-y. Let's follow this aircraft a minute, I suppose. Now you can see everything's happening at real time. This aircraft is taxiing along at the kind of speed you'd expect it to. And down here, incidentally, in the left-hand corner, is where all the ATC chatter is going on. Now, I'm not sure what the end goal for ATC chatter is, how involved you can get. I'd love it. I would love it. If you could... Here you go, there's a bit of ATC chatter now. I don't know which is which. So dark green is ATC, and it just fades away too quickly for you to read any of it at the moment. I would dearly love it if you could control this game with your voice, like in Tower 3D Pro. This game, with that capability, would be exceptional. Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Now I'm going to move away from that aircraft just a minute, because otherwise I'm never going to get through this information or conversation or sentence that I'm trying to convey to you. So right at the beginning, when you get this menu, we'll keep an eye on him. We'll keep an eye on him in the background. you've got this option down here, next. Now, if you're playing, it basically tells you about what you're in, and as you move through, it gives you information about the flight strips, which are these up here, and you can see they're changing colour, and they reflect the aircraft. What's going on here? New arrival. Incoming aircraft. Now you can see we're quite a long way away from the airport, and this is one of the difficult things about this game is I'm trying to explain this one thing to you, but stuff keeps happening. Now if you give it a few minutes, an awful lot happens, but you have to give it a bit of time. You don't start off at full throttle, you work your way to it. So these strips are quite important up here. Now you can't really do anything with them, that's kind of automated, and every time you click on an aircraft you get detailed information about it. But this is important stuff because it means that ATC is going to be more involved than it currently is. At the moment everything's kind of automated, and if you read the description about this particular release version, you'll know that that's intentional. But there's a lot here that has been built and is ready to go, and it's kind of stuff that you would have to build up to. You wouldn't necessarily, well, you would not start with it. You'd have to manage your very small airfield, make a profit, and then invest in these additional features. Now this aircraft's going to take off in a moment. I think we have an aircraft coming in. And you can use the flight board up in the right hand corner to switch between the aircraft, even if they're on the ground parked up. So it's an easy way of navigating around. It works really well, and if you look at the detail on the aircraft, I think it's really quite nice. Really, really nice. I mean, clearly these guys are passionate about aviation. That is a model that someone has spent a lot of time putting together, and it looks really good. Now, I concede all of the windows are like greyed out or silvered out or what the heck ever, I don't know. I don't know for sure that that's going to be changed into being a realistic looking window, but I sure as heck hope it is. Now, how far away is this aircraft? Still quite a distance. Now, what these aircraft are doing, and this is the kind of thing that you don't pick up on unless you investigate, unless you do some research, unless you learn about what the game is. And that's what previous reviews have failed to do, in my humble opinion. These aircraft are adhering to proper ICAO standards. This aircraft flying in here, let's see what it is here. Currently the aircraft is flying standard terminal arrival route, which is a star. It's coming in via LINTA or LINTA, which is probably how it's referred to in the aviation industry. The ATC provides radar services for IFR arrivals and monitors flight track and deviations from published procedures, both lateral and vertical. So it keeps them in check, basically. I mean, if this plane dropped 200 feet, ATC would want to know why. Equally, if it started flying off on an odd heading, ATC would want to get in contact with the aircraft. Now, this guy's about to take off. And this is very early access. But we've already got, we've got the beacons flashing away, looking really good. We've got the wheels. Now, something interesting I'll tell you about this. There's not a lot of detail on this aircraft, but it's early access. And there's a lot of aircraft planned. I'll go into that in a bit later. So this plane is off and it's flying. Now this is a flight school flight. So this plane is probably just going to do a loop. I forget what it's called. It's going to fly around the airport and land again. Possibly even do a touch and go. I don't know. But all of these fantastic features are available. These aircrafts are flying predefined routes, which are managed by you. This is just a snippet, a look into what's coming. Now, the audio on this is not brilliant. That needs to be updated and improved, and I'm sure it will be. There's a few other things I want to talk about. Let's start with this. Actually, let's start with this. You see how this menu is kind of transparent, and We've got greens, we've got blues, we've got reds, we've got yellows, we've got icons and all sorts of stuff. Airline contracts and relations. Oh, there's so much to tell you about. Honestly, there is so much to discuss in this game that I'm not going to be able to do it all this time. What I will do is I'll follow this as it develops, and I'll keep updating you and informing you of what's changed, what's coming, and so on and so forth. But this is just a first look review, this one. Electrical power. You need to have enough solar powers and electrical current available to power your entire airport. Fuel, you need to have fuel available. You need to manage how much you sell the fuel for. If fuel costs you more to buy in, then you need to increase your price to sell out. You can upgrade and update these things. The flight school is the same. Nothing's really active here, but you have students, you have pilots, and you have aircraft. You're going to manage all of this. You're going to buy the aircraft in. You're going to hire the pilots to teach the students. You're going to charge them a price for theory and an hour's flight. As you can see here, there is a lot. Cafeteria, this is a massive bit of development. I'll show you that in a bit. You're going to manage all of that as well. Vending machines across the airport. Now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to place them where you want. I suspect there will be a certain number of areas where they can go, and you pick what goes there. And then you can kind of manage each one individually by setting prices and upgrading and such and so on. What else do we have? Right, yes. So I don't really like the menu layout. I think their UI needs upgrading completely. This is just confusing. There's like 20 icons up here, and when you first come in you think, bloody hell, what is all this information? What does everything do? I am so confused. Well, actually, this one takes you to current weather. This one next to it, the one that looks like a calendar, that takes you to current weather. This clock here takes you to current weather. The windsock takes you to current weather, which kind of makes sense. The runway, however, takes you to current weather. I think you're getting the idea here. Everything here along the top, there's like 25 icons, but that whole bar just takes you to current weather. Now, if you knew that from the beginning, that would not be quite as daunting as it perhaps is, especially for somebody who doesn't really know anything about aviation. You just look at that and go, what the bloody hell is that? But again, it's difficult to see. It's green against green against green. It's ridiculous. The UI needs to be improved considerably. Just even get rid of this sort of transparent background and make it solid. That would improve things dramatically. But this looks horrible. And it's not good. It takes a bit of effort from the user to be able to just put up with that. And I think if you're going to release a title as early access, then you need to at least make it pleasing to the eye, or give something to the user, an encouragement for them. Now, they can argue, I guess, that they've done all this, and this is fantastic, but the UI is constant. You can't get away from this. You can't play the game without looking at this. And you're forcing this green against green against green. And it's just not on. Nobody's going to swallow that. Not swallow it and enjoy it. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, here's another one. Obviously, we're working in dollars here. Nobody I know of ever records monetary value with 0, 0 and then the value. So we've got 11,000 in the bank. That should just say 11,405, not 0-011-405. I mean, what the heck is 405? That's 405 pounds. Yes, okay, that's 405 pounds. You can have, I assume, based on this, you're limited to a maximum of $9,999,999. That's what that is telling me. And that's not good either. This here represents your power. Obviously, you're going to need to manage this. Let's just see what... Right, this aircraft requires refueling, so we just click on that, and that's that done. This... now I can show you something interesting. And look at the detail on this aircraft. It's nice, isn't it? Now, I don't know if this is going to be updated and improved. I hope it is. I hope it's going to become a bit more involved than this. But anyway, for now, you click on it, and if we swear out of there and come over here, you can see... somewhere. Here we go. This is called Aero Delish Catering. This is the catering department. Now, it's good. All this stuff that you see on the floor, I would hope, I mean, these icons here, I would hope, very much hope, that you can either control that or not see it at all. Because I think this is ridiculous. Watch where this guy's go and listen to that noise. What is making that noise? Is it this? Because that's supposed to sound like a truck. But it seems to have two audio files running at the same time. So maybe that's just a bug. Because that noise is actually this thing. That's the noise this thing makes. And that thing should make that noise. But maybe not as noisily. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's why. And you can see there's no NPCs at the moment. So he's going to go pick up the luggage, which is quite cool. This is all happening automated. I'm not doing anything. But you see how far this truck has to come all the way around here in order to get here. Now, I'm not being funny, and I don't want to be rude. But who's the idiot who thought that was the best way to do it? I'm just going to say this, okay? You need to have both this and this available so that you can have luggage come down one side and catering to come down the other side. Okay, that's fine. Why not have this one go up and this one go down? Because that way he doesn't have to drive all the way around there to get to any of these points. He can just come in here. So he could have driven out of here and into this space and then driven round here and down. Oh, not even that actually. He could have just come up here and come back round the other side. Now, I grant you, you're going to have to build a bit of a better algorithm in order for these vehicles not to bump into each other. But I'm sure you can do it. I'm sure you can do it. Because it's already smart enough to know that if the catering is this side and the luggage comes round, it goes and parks the other side. So you're almost there anyway. So rather than making people wait whilst it drives all the way around there for no good reason whatsoever, just swap these. So one goes up and one comes down. That's that fixed. There you go. You can have that one for free. But I have to say, overall, I am excited by this title. Now look at this. There's some features here. This sort of suggests future features. Airport fire and rescue service. That means you're going to have major incidents here. And there's an entire, if we look over here, there's an entire fire station. An entire fire station for you to do something with. I don't know. You're going to have to employ these people and... What the heck is that noise? All of a sudden there's a lot going on. Okay, so we just had an aircraft land. This one's just powered up. That's a loony L20 apparently. What's this one? This is a regional jet model 50X. This is a Viper. A Viper 28. Looks like a Piper to me. But anyway. Looking very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. There's a lot of positives here. Now what else can I tell you? I know. Now here we have the ATC Tower. Now there's enough space here for 4 people. Now I assume... There's actually enough for 5 people, but it says 4. I assume that means that you can have multiplayer. One other thing. The mouse control. When you right click and move... It's incredibly responsive. Really, really good. But I don't think... Okay, that aircraft is pretty close. But I still don't think it should be that loud anyway. I do not think anybody on the planet needs their mouse control to go this fast. Are you ready? If you get dizzy easy, I'd look away now. Now, why the hell would you want it to go that fast? You don't, do you? I mean, the maximum I think I could cope with is about... Oh, God. I feel dizzy now. It's about that fast. Maybe a bit faster than that. But I don't want to go too fast. There we go. That's fast enough. So, you've basically... I need to use this amount, and you've given us this amount, which is just way too much. So just, give us a slider so that we can chill it out a bit. God, I can only hear that in one ear. That is horrible. I need to be able to hear it in both ears or I'm going to go mad. Oh, we have to move away from there, I'm sorry. Same. Oh, finally we got sound in both ears, that's good. So anyway, it's early access. It's very early access. I hear that noise all the time on this game. I don't really know what it is. There we go. That truck's just driven itself back to the depot. Job's a good one. Everyone's happy. He's going to go get the passengers. Now, there's no NPCs yet. That's not coming for a while. So you just need to sort of accept that and get over it. Why can I only hear that in my right ear? If I look away from it, I can hear it in my left ear. That's frustrating. Right. Now, what do we have here, aircraft-wise? Ah, good, okay. So, we're going to watch this one take off so that you can see the landing gear retract. And hear it as well. And you can see quite clearly that those wheels actually are rotating. Now, this aircraft is awaiting for permission from ATC to enter the runway and line up. Not sure if we have an aircraft coming in, maybe. Yep, there we go. So you can see that was managed by ATC. Now, I'm hoping in the final game that we'll have far more control over all of this stuff, but this is just an introduction. This is just showing you what's available. Another thing I suppose I need to mention is the outside ground textures. I mean, they're poor. They are very poor, but this is in alpha. One thing they've mentioned they're doing that I would recommend they stop doing is trying to allow this to run on PCs that are 10 years old or more. Now, I think that's a bad idea. I think if you're going to make a game, you make it as good as you can be, and you don't worry about 10-year-old PCs, because you're limiting all the graphic capabilities by doing that. And that's just going to infuriate the people with better PCs. And in this day and age, I think a 10-year-old PC is highly unlikely. And if it isn't unlikely, then it is unlikely. It's just unlikely. I don't think there are that many 10-year-old PCs out there these days. So this aircraft's going to take off anytime soon as ATC gives permission. And then we can watch the takeoff and the landing gear retraction. Any minute now, ATC, come on. It's off the runway. Looking for ATC to come in now. There we go. ATC is perked up. Permission has been given. We're going to go line up on the runway. In fact, have they been given... couldn't read it in time. It disappears too quickly. That needs to be fixed, I think. If you're going to have ATC just popping up in the bottom left-hand corner like that, at least leave it there long enough for people to read it. Because actually, it's quite interesting for some of us to read that information. Okay, we're going to adopt this position. Actually, let's adopt this position. I think that's a better position to watch the landing gear go up. Now you'll hear that as the engine accelerates, the tone changes, but it isn't smooth, it's instant. So instantly full power. Acceleration is good. Takeoff is a bit lurchy, but there we go. Pretty nice, huh? Now, the flaps are down. You can see the flaps are down. And as this aircraft gets comfortable, I assume those flaps will raise. There they go. So there's all this detail in the aircraft, and that's already in place, and we're very, very early alpha. Very, very early alpha. So let me just take you around so you can see everything. There's a VOR. Where's the VOR? This over here. Obviously this is the ATC Tower, as we've seen that before. Here we have, and this is important, this is a small terminal. This is going to get much larger for larger airports. Primary radar, that's situated here. And you can actually hear that as it's going round. It's creaking. They have some of the most interesting sound effects, they really do. Here's the fire station. I've showed you that already. Over here we have, this is meteorology, as it says, the meteorology office. This is basically, this is where the weather radar is situated, and you won't get that as part of a real career game. Incidentally, the career is coming in the next phase release, which is due this month sometime, maybe this coming month, in the next couple of weeks, whatever, something like that. Now, the Meteorology Office issues current weather meta and TAF-style 24-hour weather forecasts, but it also has a casual player readable form for those who don't know about meta encoding yet. So that's good. This over here is the administration building. Now, you can't really do much with this. In fact, you can't do anything with this at present in its current state. But it will serve as the main command post of player-controlled airport manager. Provides access to almost every manageable item in the airport. So basically, you'll be able to get quick access to everything you want to get access to, everything that you can manage within the airport itself, with the exception of the ATC, which is kind of an independent, self-managing experience, if you will. You can see in the middle here that we have a 5-strong 8-prom. I assume as your airport grows and expands that you'll be able to style these a bit more and change them and build your own and so on and so forth. Service hangars. Now, there's not really much going on there at the moment. I cannot remember how to zoom it. There we go. Again, you can hear the sound effects going on, but there's not actually anything going on in there at the moment. But there'll be technical ground service there, checks and so on and so forth. And what else do we have? We have fuel over here. Where's the fuel? There's the fuel. Obviously, I've spoken about that earlier, and the fuel truck isn't actually working at the moment, but it will be at some point. I imagine possibly in the next release. And obviously, over here, we have the flight school. And that's what most of these aircraft are. In fact, these two, you can see the logo on the door and on the roof. They are the... That goes after some fuel. This is the flight school right here, and that'll probably bring in quite a bit of revenue for you. Something's starting up. Oh, I tell a lie. The fuel truck does work. Well, I didn't think it did. I've been proven wrong. Now, the aircraft in this game are based on real aircraft, but they are not officially named as the aircraft. You could probably recognise some of them. There's a couple of Cessnas. There's a Piper 28, which I showed you earlier. There's a Technam. There's a Beechcraft. There's a Falcon. In fact, there's 2 Falcons. There's an Embraer Phenom 300 and Pilatus PC-12NG. So quite a few aircraft available, and you can pretty easily tell which aircraft is which. Obviously, here we have a Piper. Is that a Piper as well? Let me see here. That's a Cessna. Yeah, that's a Cessna Cardinal 177. Ooh, twin prop. This is the real life example of this would be the... I actually don't know what this is. This is a Technam 2006P. Not an aircraft I'm overly familiar with. It looks pretty good, I guess. There goes a Piper. That's a Piper. What do we have over here? This is the Regional Jet Model 50X, which is actually the Falcon 50X equivalent. And again, here we have the Pontius PC-13, which in real life is a Pilatus PC-12NG. And I think they're really nicely modelled. Really, really nicely modelled. I have to say, I don't know how the airport growth system is going to work. I'm not sure how big you can make it. I hope it works well. Oh, incidentally, I forgot. Last thing. Over here, this is where all our power comes from. So I'm guessing you'll be able to buy banks of these and just sort of install them and stuff. I don't know. Something like that. So there's a lot of positives here. There's a lot of positives. And if you can ignore the politics and the legal stance that's gone before it, hopefully STICLI will listen to what I'm saying to them, change their EULA, and if we're really lucky, they'll offer an apology for being so aggressive with early access adopters. And maybe we can all start again on a fresh page. Maybe when the next release comes out, we can all get together and have a look at this game and see what is really going on. And maybe then we'll start to get behind it. Because everybody makes mistakes, and don't think that they don't. Everybody makes mistakes. And this is a really good first attempt. And I'm excited to see this grow and develop. And I have a lot of faith in this company. They seem to be very, very organised, and that can only be a good thing. So guys, as a first look, I think I've covered everything I possibly can. There's an awful lot of information about this game and a lot of stuff that's going to be coming. They seem pretty accurate and pretty good at keeping on track with what they've designed. Now, I work in software engineering myself, and I know that if you don't plan properly, your product's going to be crappy. Now, you're probably all jumping up and down saying, it's crappy, it's crappy. It's not. It's early access. They've got a plan. They seem to be following it really well. And based on the information that's available, I think this game is going to develop into something really, really good. And if they keep the price as it is, I think it's going to become a bargain. I really do. And I think they should. I think they should keep the price as it is. They've changed the price. It was, I think, £20 when it first came out, but they've reduced it down to £11. And I think £11 is a good price for this. And if you don't believe me, that's fine. But I will continue to produce reviews on this and updates and keep you informed on the progress. And as it starts to evolve and it starts to grow, and you think to yourself, he was right about this. It's turning into a good game. And then you can come and give me a big old comment and a massive old thumbs up and say, thanks, man. Thanks, Sim. Thanks for pointing this game out to me when everyone else was jumping up and down and saying how crappy it was. And you came in and you said, it's not completely crappy. It's not completely crappy. It's early access and there's a lot of potential. There is an awful lot of potential. So anyway, that's pretty much it from me, guys. My name's Mike. This is Sim UK. Thank you for watching. And until next time, take good care of yourselves. Goodbye for now.